pay attention to this. Just press record and then Gaia is starting. It's important to not take those things too lightly. These synchronistic events. Channeling and fixing our hair. These synchronistic events, like Gaia communicating at that time, when this happened, when you did this, when you did that, all of those things are significant, very significant to pay attention to. I have a very beautiful tree right in front of me that is giving a very visual representation of what Gaia is doing, as well as the auditory, right? So it is so important to start to be real about what's going on for the body and what we're actually sensing with the body. Because unless you make it practical with the body, you're not really progressing forward in your development. There is a very specific development when it comes to human consciousness. Consciousness in general, but right now we are specifically talking about human consciousness development. And there are stages that you can read when you know how to read energy. There are stages of development, and you can observe when you have managed to get out of the dualistic perspective. You can see the dualistic perspective very clearly. And you will see when someone is in a dualistic perspective, pretending not to be. It's very easy to determine for someone that has a different level of frequency and consciousness. And there are many stories that can take place when we talk about hierarchy, right? Because we have been trained, we, the body, have been trained, because I'm also speaking for me as the person, right? So we have been trained to we have been trained to look at hierarchy in a way that is disempowering, because of the dominant energy used in your upbringing by people, the way you see around you, what the bodies actually feel. That is what many beings bypass. They bypass when I got distracted. I just want to make you aware of something, because there are multiple things going on here. And I don't want to pretend that we're just channeling here, right? Because we are also in this location. And we are also feeling Gaia. And by feeling Gaia, we can also feel people around, hearing sounds that are different than just the normal animal sounds. And that is the sound or feeling, I would say, of sort of like a disruption. It's a disruption in the natural energy flow. that we are part of when we connect to Gaia. And when we are paying attention to the sound, to the smells, taste. You can sort of taste the particles in the wind. Much like an animal. Right? And so when something is then natural, natural only means in this sense that they are connected. It's natural. The individual has a natural flow of energy. That's a better way to say that. Because most beings, when they have thwarted their energy field are like walking around and sparking chaos. And the ones that are in there, they don't even see that they're doing it. They are just so in their own experience that they're not connected to the natural flow of Gaia and life and the universe and higher intelligence and your body and this whole experience. With everything included, even the dangers of the body, right? Because the body senses people and the energy, and it doesn't want to commingle with anything like that. So it prefers to be alone. That's what I'm working with my body, preferring to be finding spots. Like this is the I had a moment. Okay, there's a little branching off here going on, but I hope you can handle it. Because right now we are building different stories. Certain stories have to do with the channeling. Jesus, the Ascended Masters, or whoever is coming through at the time, right? Today I have invited Jesus. I don't always say that, but I usually announce it in the text. But we have been, if you have seen the Channeling Jesus 28-day consciousness shift, in one of those episodes, I talk about how I went from one place to another. And if you haven't watched it, there's a link in the description, and you can go and sign up to start to get the accompanying text as well. Because there's text and there's the videos. And so my body moved me to another place, right? And that has to do with paying attention to the body. And then me, as the knower, the masculine, me, the one that's like, you can call it so many things, right? But it's you. It's the consciousness. It's the one that is directing the thing. The one that can say, just suddenly decide something completely different, 180. I'm just going to do this. And then just makes a decision, that part of you. Because once you are clear, you're clear. Once you have enough data, it's clear. You take that next step. And so that part, that is you. Regardless if you think you have given away your power or not, and you have projected your power outward, that is the dualistic perspective. That is lesson. You're lessening your own self-worth by doing that. So that's why we are taking all of this into the sacred heart. Both the pain and the things that we don't think we are, we take it all back. Places that you've projected your power, take it all back. All of those projections, take it into the heart and let it burn there. Let it burn there. It is the most powerful thing you can do. Because you are consciously willing and choosing to harmonize. It is normal that even if we are on this new timeline of being in the holistic perspective, we're still working on practicing the vibrational stability and maturity at all times. That is something that just becomes another habitual behavior. And that is necessary to build energy, to build human energy, to ascend, and to build solid foundations. And so this being right now has practice to listen to his body. That is his game now, to listen and to honor the feeler. Because he has also been part of the indoctrination, and although he has done great leaps, he still works out some kinks, and it's about maintaining that balance all the time. And that is something that is practiced every day. It is necessary to do that so that something else can be the dominant frequency. And the knower is the one that does that. Right? You are the one that do that. So there is a hierarchy of spiritual development. But even if someone is of a high spiritual development, he's not a better person than the one that's in a lower frequency. That is not it. But the people in the lower frequency can think that because of the dualistic nature of their way of thinking. Do you see? And so it's important to collapse those if you have them. And sometimes we have to be shown that, do you see that? Do you see when you do this and that and the other? That is one-sided because this is on the other side. And once you see it, it's super clear. It's like, yeah. And then you just feel grateful. Because then suggestions are not taking as ego offenses, like there are so many things that's going on energetically with people that they're just trying to ignore and pretend that it's not there. That is a lot of beings in the dualistic perspective, thinking that the reality is one way when it's actually twisted, that the reality is sort of twisted. They're seeing reality like this instead of like this, right? So what that does is, like, if that person sees it like that, it needs to actually sort of, they're sort of pushing what they're not out, and so that is someone, and that's just an energy form, and then someone that comes in contact with that person go, okay, this fits, like I'm supposed to behave like this with this person. That's why that happens when someone comes into your field, because they're just mirroring something, So, two beings that are on different frequencies can sort of try to communicate, but that's what doesn't work. Because they are seeing reality completely different. Even if they're in the same room, they're seeing reality differently. So when something happens, there will be two totally different interpretations of the same event. That is because one looks at reality this way, toward it, the other one perhaps toward it the other way, most likely, right? And the only difference there with someone that sees it, it just goes, I see you're doing that. I don't want to go into that because then I have to behave like that to fit into your story. And I don't want to do that because that energetic mold that you've created for me to fit into is not really me. So I don't want to fit into a box that you have placed me in. You see? Like we don't want to, it's important for us to acknowledge that that's what's happening. Whenever we enter into any interaction with another human being, for more than, the cashier type of relationships, very short term. Most times. So I want to tell you something, and just a continuation. There's been a few stories now, you see? I hope you can follow. This is what it is to be multidimensional. There are different things that's said on different levels. And by that, you can comprehend the different levels of frequency, right? Because we are operating on different levels. We're always operating on different levels, but not all beings can speak from multiple levels, knowing what those multiple levels are, right? Because most beings just receive and they don't fully have a comprehension of how this works, but they're just doing it. Because some beings have that training already coming in, so they can do that. And so if you watched the 28-day consciousness shift of me channeling Jesus, you noticed that there was one time that my body took me out. So I'm paying attention to my body, and then my body showed me another way. So this was me, and me as the masculine, the knower, I need to read that body literally. Like, it's no like meditate and like it's not really like that. It's like you are feeling the body, you're just paying attention like you would something you care about, like you would a toy or a thing that you really value, or your art, or your, like you treat it like that because it's part of you. You are infusing yourself in it, in these bodies. So, what happened in that new place even was that as I saw one dude, said hi to him, he stopped because he saw that I was recording, and then he went the other way. So that was it. And then the next time he came, and I wasn't recording, so it was fine. So I just did like this, and he just went into the forest or something. Okay. I thought he was like, maybe he's going home or something. I wasn't channeling, or it wasn't nothing. It was just like feeling that person, right? And sometimes channeling doesn't work on those levels even. Depends. It depends on the type of channel. But, and so the next time I saw him again, and suddenly it was like, he's coming every time that I'm here. And so I felt, and this was a time that I had this massive shift, really shift. The whole family of light and the Ascended Masters came, and I was doing a meditation for the members of the community, the Holistic Optimizer. And what happened inside of there was that they just came through with this some kind of healing technology that they just removed some energetic block and just totally reinstated something inside of the power center and the root and the second chakra. Pretty much the entire lower. So I had a full-on surgery in like that session. And that was transmitted so that that energy can be picked up by who is watching and listening. So anyway, my stories is a little bit all over the show, as you can tell. But that is the multidimensionality aspect. So it's not something to just fluff about, because it's important to place things in the correct way, correct place. Because that is the purpose of these videos, so that you comprehend your different levels of operation of these human bodies. So, when you have hang on a second. There's a little bit too many I feel like I'm being pulled a little bit too many places right now. So that means I'm a little bit too flighty. So then we have to connect further, deeper in with Gaia, right? And that means listening, feeling the body, feeling how this energy infused stillness. And then we're back online. You see? There are many levels that we can speak from. But the one level that is really important is the level where things are harmonized. Because that is the truth. The energetic truth of how you are maneuvering the channeling. Let's just be clear. That is what is coming through when there is harmony. Right? And then there could be the perspective of something that was in the past. But that is the past. That is not the now. The now is where the channeling happens. The past, we are then replaying something that was, which is just a memory. And then we are not connected to the body. You see? You see how interesting it is? Because and this goes for everything. Whenever we're telling a story, we're not in the present. We are reciting something that was. Can you be new in every moment? Can you be new right now? And behave in this moment differently? Give yourself that option so that you can be a different person every second. If you must. Because that gives you the freedom of trying out new things. Don't go in the same track. Try and do something different. Just for the sake of doing something different. And just see what happens. And then see what happens. This is what we wanted to share for today. We hope that you enjoyed today's transmission. We're going to let Kenneth speak the rest of his story before we close completely. Thank you from our side. So I just wanted to finish because this place, I had another encounter with this dude, and I was like, and I was just sitting there. I was out after recording and stuff like that, and then I was sitting there, just feeling, trying to connect as deeply as the day before, because it was so profoundly deep. Wow. But then this dude was there. I mean, then that dude wasn't there when that happened, actually, but he came after. I think it was the next day. And then he went into the forest again, and I started feeling him as if, like, there's something he's doing. You know? Like, I couldn't tell exactly what, but I had a feeling like he was just lurking around. And then at one point, I saw him come out of the forest when it was pitch dark. And I was like, what? And then he just... I don't know what he was doing. But I just said goodbye to him. He didn't say anything. And I just left. And after that, I'm like, all of these spots had its moment. You know, it was for that 28th day. It was very special. That was very orchestrated. Like, Gaia is like, okay, this is the way, my dear, let's do it this way and that way. And all of these, this is how I was following Gaia. But then after, the energy shifted. Interesting, right? And so today, this was my body again, just letting it rest, letting it just integrate after all of these 28 days. It was actually very challenging to go through because it was every day. It's not like because I decided that that was important, that I had to do it every day. And I think it was one day that I had to retake. If that's a little Easter egg, if you can figure out which one it is, then let me know. And that would be, if you do that, then you're paying attention. That's really, really, that's a fun thing. Where was I? And so, my body just, I let my body rest after these 28 days, yeah. So it was just really good to unwind that because it was every day. And I made it a point that it needed to be every day. It was just a decision, like, this is how it has to be. Because then you get the momentum of what's being built, right? And so I didn't post them exactly at that day because I started recording a little bit earlier than I posted them. But it was like a spiritual marathon that I was in. And I felt sort of like, my body just needs to rest. It's like it's exuded so much spiritual energy. Giving so much. Channeling is giving. Channeling for everyone to be uplifted, you know? It's a big deal. It's very valuable if you really truly get what is happening. Because when you're uplifted, everything works out better, you know? And the beings that are doing this collectively, it's very beautiful, very sacred. I feel that because I've done other types of work, and this is like, wow, this is really an honor to bring through this. I feel that because of the warmth and the love that I'm feeling. It's not really love. I wouldn't call it love, because we've had so much screwy ideas of what love is, it's more like just energy glow. Like, think about it in terms of energy. It's much, much healthier. It's just a glow of energy. The energy is running smoothly. That's what it is. All right, that's what I wanted to share. And so it took us to this place. And then this is a new place. We'll see. So far, this looks beautiful from here. I hope that you get to enjoy it as well. Okay, take care. If you like this, I love to hear your comments, so we can connect. I'll talk to you again in the next one. Or maybe this one, or that one. I think there's something like this, right? All right, take care. Ciao.